else's retreats have been going, any insights you've had, just takeaways from the retreat. That'll be the bulk of this closing session. And then at 10:20, anybody who is so inclined, we can all bow together and take leave. And then Ajahn Nisargo and I will be giving malas, it's a Clear Mountain rosary, basically Buddhist rosaries to anyone who doesn't yet have one and would like to have one. And then I've got to go pretty promptly at 10:30. I'm a schoolboy, I'm still in university, and I've skipped the last 4 days of school, and I don't want to flunk out. It's definitely the best thing I've ever done while skipping school before is come to this retreat. So thank you all for that. But yeah, just to start with, a lot of gratitude is coming up for me. I love sitting with other people, and this was a great group to sit with. One of the retreats, Eugene actually brought up this image of this deep well of gratitude that can be tapped into, and it's almost the reverse of this, showering down image that we've had for the whole retreat. But actually, the pools of Pamoja, these pools of well-being, can come up from deep wells within, and gratitude is certainly a way to fill our pools of well-being. So, yeah, thank you all for doing this together. Something I did want to go over is just again those movements for the Theravada Tai Chi. So do it in English, and then in Pali, and then in English again. So we've got the fading away, cessation, relinquishment, letting go, release without attachment. Then viraga, nirodha, chago, patinisako, mutti, analayo. Fading away, cessation, relinquishment, letting go, release without attachment. And that is so useful. It's so useful. The mental gestures, the physical ones, it might not jive with you, but even the physical movements of them can be helpful, and you can just stay with anyone that you like. I personally felt a little bit self-conscious, in the middle of a sit, starting to wave my arms around after I taught that initially. So actually created a pocket-sized version of that, basically a hand mudra version of it. It's like the Game Boy, it's like Dharma Game Boy. You can play that, like Angry Birds, so much better. And yeah, this is one which you can do underneath your desk or just in your lap, and no one has to notice. So people will, if you looked around, you see other people sitting like this. This is both a circle of fullness and integrity, and a circle of emptiness, and that's many people sit like this most of the time. But bringing in these hand motions, you've got fading away, so that's moving apart, just however much, or actually, sorry, fading away is moving back, so fading away from our trajectory into the future, our trajectory forward, so fading away back, fading away. Cessation is this downward movement. Relinquishment is moving out. Letting go is coming back in and crossing. Release is this, all right, thumbs up, this is great. And then letting go is just completely relaxing the thumbs. So fading away, cessation, relinquishment, letting go, release, without any attachment. And now you've got it. And that's a lot better than Words with Friends or Candy Crush. It's just right there in the palm of your hands. So in addition to that, just thought to give 3 ways of dedicating our practice. And you can do this anytime. It does fit very well with bowing. But 3 ways of dedicating our life, dedicating our practice, dedicating our sits, dedicating our mornings, our evenings. And I'll start with the second tell you the third and then come back around to the first. So the second way of dedicating one's practice is Samditika Akalika. You don't have to remember the Pali, but dedicating one's practice for experiencing or feeling or participating in the Dhamma, which is apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading inwards. So I dedicate all of these sits, I dedicate all the good I've done today, I dedicate my life to this Dhamma, which is apparent here and now, and is timeless, and is right here in the present moment. I dedicate my life to this present moment Dhamma. The third way to dedicate one's life is I dedicate my life and my practice for the benefit and happiness of all beings. So the third time you bow, I dedicate my practice for the benefit and happiness of all beings. And the first is, the first time you bow, bowing to the Buddha, I dedicate my life, dedicate my practice to Nibbana, to Nibbana Satchikaranataya, like you chanted in the Sutta on the highest blessings for attaining Nibbana. I love, it's a crucial insight that on a retreat like this, it doesn't make sense to strive in a certain way. So dedicating life, practice to the apparent here and now Dhamma. But over the course of a lifetime, having this Nibbana, and this is the remainderless, fading away, cessation, relinquishment, letting go, release, and giving up. This is a Nibbana which is not just not being pulled in by our greed, anger, and delusion, but actually the non-arising of greed, anger, and delusion. And is that possible? I don't know. I haven't attained it yet. And it's a belief. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. And but can we relate to that in a way which is not spiritual bypassing, but is actually nourishing and healthy? There are teachers who suggest that it can be. So wish everybody well and look forward to hearing how everyone's practice is. So, thank you.
It's my first time learning the Dharma Game Boy also. We really did want to, there's this, when you open up the forum often, there's so much waiting in everyone's hearts to be said. There's a real settling of energy when you, at the end of a retreat, have everyone have a chance to talk. So we do want to really preserve time for that. But it does feel important to frame all these days with what Ajahn Kovila was saying around dedication. And in some ways, that word is a really beautiful way of relating to practice and avoiding that pitfall that we spoke of yesterday around striving. To dedicate a life to something, to dedicate practice, ourselves, our hearts, it implies aspiration, it implies directionality, and yet there's a grace and a surrender. And there's something in us which deeply intuits the need for this. In the suttas, whenever someone hears the Buddha's teachings and becomes inspired by them, they often will say it's as if the Buddha had turned upright something that had been turned upside down, as if the Buddha had uncovered what had been covered. Wonderful, marvelous. And this sense of recognition of hearing the teachings, and it's not necessarily the sense of hearing something new, it's a recognition of truth, something we've known deeply in our hearts for a long time, or like meeting an old friend. And that moment, it's one of the most pure forms of mudita, sympathetic joy. rejoicing, I know, is to watch others touch and get drawn into the Dhamma, because you'll see that people coming into contact with these teachings, getting a vague interest in meditation, thinking maybe it'll be interesting to try, or coming from deep suffering. And one way or the other, they hear these words, they begin to meditate, and suddenly they see a through line that they've been searching for their whole lives. These scattered existences we use, or we give ourselves to. Because the heart wants a worthy goal, it wants something, to give itself to something. It knows there's something to be done. But we so often misjudge the correct trajectory. My parents were with some friends of theirs in California, and were sitting on their porch, and they both had just retired, my parents and these people. My parents retired to kind of dedicate their lives a bit more to practice in Dhamma and to supporting Sangha and community. And their friends were just saying, reflecting, we realized it's all about the view. It's all about the view. And I was like, when I heard the story, I was like, well, yeah, I guess it is, right view. And they're like, no, the real estate, it's, you gotta get the right view, and then you've really nailed it. And it's just interesting to watch how people pour their hearts into remodeling the kitchen again. There seems to be a phase in retiree life where you get a camper. My parents went through this too, and it's great, campers are nice, but it's interesting how we know there's something to be done, and we don't know what it is, and then you finally touch it. That midlife crisis hits, and you get a Harley Davidson, or you come to a retreat, and you've all done the right thing here. And it's sad because the metric we have is so wrong. Happiness, the pursuit of happiness. At the deep level, yes, we're searching for well-being for ourselves and others, but that's not the right language. We want purpose. We want purpose. That's what we want deeply. Something we can really say we've used our lives in a worthy way. Nietzsche said, with the right why, we can bear any how. I tried to teach that at a retreat once, and they mistranslated it as, with the right wine, you can teach anyhow. And all the monks looked very confused. But that's a metric we can step into and take. And happiness is hidden there, but we want purpose. And what it becomes really important to realize is, if you've touched these teachings, which have been a thread through human history for 2,500 years, which have lasted through the fall and rise of empires, if you've been given this gift, which monks and nuns and laymen and laywomen have died to keep going, have given their lives to keep going in quiet hermitages in the mountains, in their daily lives, resisting the Red Guard in China, on and on and on. You have been given a precious gift. There is no wisdom like this. I have never encountered a teaching so profound. And to carry that on and embody it, not in a proselytizing way, but the deeper you bring it into your heart, don't waste it. Don't waste this moment. And really to use a retreat like this to reorient towards that purpose. And we need help doing that. We need community. This is against the stream. It's not the way the world thinks. So just to really encourage people to come together in Bellingham. BIMS is a very good organization. We've been impressed with their wisdom and ethic from day one. And to, as much as you're able, please take support from what we are doing in Seattle, which is to create a home, a Dharmic refuge. The vision for Clear Mountain is a monastery where monks will live. We hope, and it would be beautiful if a sister community became catalyzed in Seattle through this as well. One of our big goals is to be good friends to our Bhikkhuni sisters. And to have a place where laymen and laywomen can come and practice a free Dharma refuge with these teachings, where community can be, and where we can have a place for people to come together and remember what they're here for. And we've really tried to make this accessible remotely online. So every Saturday we have a meeting at St. Mark's Cathedral. Kirk drives down almost every Saturday. Others are willing, you can carpool down. It is a drive, but you can make a day of it. Often we'll meet at a bakery at 8 a.m. Those details are on the Mid to Meetups page of our website. So an hour of coffee together, talking Dhamma, and then a few hours of Dhamma teachings and community, and then afterwards some people will spend time together even after that. So there's a community waiting for you down there, and BIMS has been so supportive of us. They donated $100,000 to this project, and we really value that relationship, and this retreat was a powerful moment in that. So just encouraging people to tap in as much as you're able. Wednesday evenings we have live streams and Zoom sessions as well. Ajahn Kovilo leads a meditation every morning and evening, and just rejoice in that community and understand that it takes a lot of work to maintain our purpose in the midst of that, and we need to hold each other. So just to finish this with a poem which I like to recite from Mary Oliver, and many of you will know this, but it's called The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the wind pried with its fingers at the very foundations. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the house shook and their melancholy was terrible. It was already late and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But slowly, as you left their voices behind, stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and you recognized a new voice that you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the one thing you can do, determined to save the one life you could save. So good luck. We have a chance now. Just invite anyone here to say what came up for them during the retreat, challenges, insights, just what's on your heart, and please, it's usually a gift for people to hear. Yeah, just be mindful of the number of folks here, so not taking too long, but feel free.
I can get us started. So this was my first in-person retreat, and I was pretty anxious about 5 days in silence. Everybody in my world thought I was crazy for going to a silent retreat. I just feel, first of all, I don't have words. I just don't think language is sufficient for the experience I've had. But so much gratitude, and I just feel nourished. And it was a more peaceful experience than I was expecting. Of course, times where things were really difficult, but then last night when I got into bed, all of a sudden I just had immense anxiety. It just kind of hit me that, I have to go back into the world. And so that was really interesting, but I just appreciate all of the skills and the 3 steps of unhooking, dropping in, and letting it be that Ajahn Kovilo shared has been guiding me. So thank you, and just grateful.
I
had two moments on the retreat that showed me some possibilities. I think throughout the retreat, for the most part, I was just kind of suffering a lot. And there was this moment when I was doing walking meditation up there, and I changed postures. I was just really going through it, and I changed postures and was there for a bit, and I had the thought, well, what if I was at ease instead? And then just like that, I didn't do anything, but all of a sudden I was at ease. And I don't know what conditions went into place to make that happen, but I know there's something, and it's a promise of well-being. And later in the retreat, I had another moment that I was doing walking meditation, still the same suffering, and I remembered that moment of ease and thought, well, what if I could be at ease? And it seems to get lighter, and it seems that there is, I don't know what it is yet, but it seems there is something I can do, and there's something I can train, and there's something that I can, through repeatedly working with these states of mind, that I can influence them and that I can know and touch well-being. And so it's not clear to me how yet or what to do yet, but the promise that is possible.
One thing that slowly made me think this retreat, something I just started to realize, and I'm not sure, but there's this concept in science that's called the observation bias. Literally, if you observe something, it shifts, and it ruins your data, basically. And this is a problem that exists in every part of science. Like, it's a theory that it actually can happen even in something like biology or chemistry, which is kind of crazy. And as I was sitting, I realized, like, as you observe it, it shifts. Just literally, if you observe, it shifts. I was watching a spider, and it realized I was watching it and ran away. And so I was just kind of like, wow, I don't know if that's my realization.
There was two things I really appreciated. I mean, I appreciate a lot about this retreat, but I'll name two. One was the combination of this relentless focus on Nibbana, on what the Buddha taught. I mean, we just completely refocusing on that, and that's what the Buddha taught. That's what we're doing here. Because a lot of stuff, it's not sidestepping, but that doesn't get pointed to so much in other kinds of retreat things. I really, really appreciate that. And at the same time, this warm kind of humanity and humaneness about here our human circumstance as human beings are here in this room together with everything hanging out. So both of those things were adroitly meshed or interwoven. Just thought it was really beautiful. And then the second thing was, this is the early 21st century, a time of great global peril, and I get it, the Vinaya monks can't watch entertainment and a whole lot of silly things we could waste time on, but you guys are really attuned to 2023, and it kind of leaked out and interpenetrated, so this wasn't a bubble devoid of contact with the actual circumstance of Earth in 2023, so it interconnected that, and it feels like what we walk away with will be ways to help bring insight or spaciousness and compassion into those situations in a way that really sees them.
Thank you for everybody that shared. And I just got one short thing. Just feeling that of mudita for the people that had shared their experiences. And then for those who probably have similar good experiences, but just, and then passion for if you didn't have that, I guess. But anyway, mudita, I can be easily moved. So, I'm very sentimental, so, yeah.
Well, I really appreciated the teachings, and it always seems kind of miraculous to me the way the right thing is said or read at the right time, and yeah, that happened several times on this retreat. So, thank you.
Thank you. Feel very, as it's echo what's been shared, very, very grateful. Yeah, it was, in some ways, I guess, the joys and the sorrows. Like I definitely experienced some unsettling things that when kind of intrusive thoughts, and particularly when I got very, more still, that when they happen, kind of scary. And it feels like a little bit like the sediment kind of gets stirred from the meditation maybe. But I guess and when that happens, there's part of me that's like, not meditation, this is my safe space. But I remember hearing Joseph Goldstein say years and years ago, just like, oh, I see you, Mara, kind of making a joke of it when it happened. So I said that a few times this retreat, which was helpful. And I think just to echo what someone else has shared, in more kind of expansive moments, or I found what was really helpful in sitting, just like asking myself a question, or posing a question like, what would a really refreshing breath feel like now? Or what would it feel like to let go more now? And it's incredible how the mind responds in a wholesome way to that. So that was really helpful for me. And just briefly, a lot of gratitude for everyone here. This is the first time I've come. I live in Canada. First time I've come south of the border for a retreat, and it was lovely to spend time with you. And for all the volunteers, and just really appreciate the two of you, Jans, and your teaching. And one thing I really appreciate, I think, is your humility that you both have as well as monks. There seems like no kind of sense of superiority or anything like that. Like really, really humble, and appreciate that. So thank you.
The Dharma is the greatest gift I have ever received. It is so precious, and I thank you deeply for reminding me of that again. And especially for the teachings on joy. They were such a wonderful antidote to the pervasive nature of dukkha, and to the suffering that is present in the world. Perhaps antidote isn't quite the right word. It's more like the joy enables us to hold the dukkha more lightly, and to see that to be reminded that there is a path forward. So thank you. Thank you deeply for coming and sharing those teachings on joy. And I'd also like to thank, as the previous speaker did, everyone in this room. When I look around and see the decades of practice present in this room, I was reflecting, I wonder if we added up our collective years of practice, how many centuries that might be. But not only the length of practice, also the depth of practice. Quality is perhaps more relevant than the actual length of time. So I'm also deeply grateful for the depth of practice that was evident from our very first sit together on Saturday to me. And so I leave the retreat renewed, refreshed, and recommitted, remotivated to these precious teachings. Thank you.
So we know that we were here so that the Dharma would be shared. A source of great joy is watching the two of you share the Dharma with each other. I mean, the kind of energy and joy that, I mean, I think sometimes you would forget we were here. You know, it's like, well, which sutta was it? No, and then you go maybe through your cards or something. It's like, okay. And, but to see, to be in the presence of that kind of energy going back and forth around the Dharma is very inspiring. I mean, it is its own, you know, Steve was talking about transmission last night. It sort of is a kind of transmission, you know. I mean, it's maybe not the ultimate transmission, but I'm just grinning looking at the two of you. I mean, it's just like it's such a great feeling to be leaving with. So, thank you.
So just wanted to say I really appreciated, I guess, the friendliness and the framing of metta as friendliness, and from you and from everyone here. I think sometimes on retreat it can get a little isolating. In this retreat didn't feel like that. So I want to express my gratitude to everyone for that. And just to elaborate a little bit on the inspiration I feel by the presence of you two in your comportment, in just how you, it's just so clear to me in this really felt visceral way that you're living the path. And it's very inspiring. Really appreciated the chanting. So thank you for that, in particular. Alice blessings. In the Pali. Yes, very appreciative of that. There's my first experience of metta after years of doing phrase repetition and getting a lot of anger and ill will as a result, and frustration, was chanting in Pali. I mean, I didn't really understand the words, but I felt it in my heart. And last night after the Q&A, I was walking back and this little haiku popped out. This is 575 haiku, which is you guys are so good at memorizing things. How to hold practice, diligent effortlessness, geese fly, light or dark. I texted that to my girlfriend last night and it came out, diligent, effortless mess.
That was one of our first contacts in the Northwest. Ayasanta Chitta and I were just having, at a little picnic in Darrington, just in the park. And this guy rides up on a bike and he's like, "Are you guys are you monks? Or like, and he'd just been at a retreat with Ayasantisika Chitananda, so karma's very interesting.
I also was very touched by the affection between the two of you, how well you really like each other, besides respect each other and all the rest, and your knowledge. The very best moment for me just happened when you said, I'm going to cry, the only life you can save. The only life you can save. And so I was a psychotherapist for 40 years, and given the abuse in my own life, the only life you can save was what was guiding me in wanting to help others. And this practice and the Dhamma, the actual truth of what gets taught here, is the same in both situations. The letting go of all that has been, the letting go of what is now, and the letting go of all that is yet to be. That is the only thing that can save you, whether it's in therapy or in this practice. It's the practice of this life. Thank you.
I've got a question. I've heard one of you on multiple occasions extol the virtues of cold showers, but I've not heard it from the other. I didn't know if it was cold mountain dharma.
Yeah, good question, Steve. Good question.
Not required.
Ajahn Kovelu just said I should read this. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know what it says. Thus have I heard Ajahn Sucitto say, quote, "Too much seeing will make you blind. Well, if that is the truth, I would gladly go blind seeing you two teach." Aww. It was a joy to be with you and the teachings this week. I feel inspired to witness your wisdom, heart, and dedication. May your paths be filled with fruit. Sadhu, 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 Skylar. P.S. I tried to practice just be normal, but it doesn't seem to be working. Never worked too well for me either, actually. We should, just to leave a little extra time, unless we do maybe if one other person had something, then there is opportunity, but I think, good. In the back, Karen, maybe some good bring with the mic.
I wanted to say thank you so much. And one of the things that I discovered, so I grew up Catholic and I was around a lot of nuns. And they didn't have a lot of sense of humor, the ones that I grew up around. And so when I found the bhikkhunis, I was really shocked at how funny they were. And that's been one of the things at this retreat that I've really enjoyed is your sense of humor. There was one evening, so I have an illness, and it's really hard for me sometimes to even get to the meditation hall. And so there was an evening where I just didn't feel well enough to come, and so I was really missing hearing the Dhamma talk, and so I opened my computer and I got on YouTube and I found the Clear Mountain YouTube channel, and I listened to the talk that you did, Ajahn Kovelu, on Pamoja, and I just want to recommend it to everyone if you haven't already heard it. It was really lovely, the very beginning where you go through every single name for the word for joy. I was really struck by that, like how many different expressions of joy there are in the suttas. And it was very inspiring to me. And so I want to thank you for that talk. And it really, really touched my heart. And I ended up, some of you know, my wheelchair lift broke on the night that I came. I somehow got the cord tangled in the works and it broke the cord, and so I couldn't get my wheelchair back in, and I was like, how am I going to get back to, Vashon Island? And so I arranged to go take my lift in to get it fixed. And on the way there, I listened again, and like several times, like I looped it like 3 times. So I've listened to that talk now, I think, 3 times. And then it went on to a couple more. And also I wanted to say, Ajahn Nisabo, that what you said to me last night about finding the Dharma heart, like that really went into my heart, and I want to carry that with me. So, and I really want to thank the organizers here too for this beautiful retreat. I came last year with Aya Santosika and Aya Chitananda, and it's such a wonderful space to have a retreat and such a wonderful group. So thank you all for your efforts to bring the Dharma to all of us.
We should wrap up, but maybe we can do 3 final sadhus all together, just for each other. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so anyone who'd like to, we can bow together, and we'll just do what's often done in traditional Theravada countries, just kind of a call and response, praise of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha in Pali. So people can just repeat. So, Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava. Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swagato Bhagavata Dhammo. Swagato Bhagavata Dhammo. Dhammang Namasami. Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho. Sanghang namami. Sanghang namami.
We may pay respects to you as well. Those who want to can. There's no pressure. Thank you, everyone, we feel a lot of gratitude as well. And it's so nice to meet people who have been tuning in from afar, who we just are meeting in person for the first time. And one of the real wonderful things about coming to the Northwest, and actually, we're homeless, but there's something about coming to a place where you feel you might be for a long time, where, I'm just hoping we get to see all of your faces again and again and again over these coming years. And please draw close, come to Seattle if you can, tune into Zooms or whatever when you're able, and it'd be lovely to develop a deeper and deeper relationship with people here. So we will have a chance we do have a hard exit around 10:25 or so, but just right now, we went on pilgrimage to Thailand last December with quite a few people, and we had some of the most amazing teachers there bless these Montana agate beads drawn from stone here in the Northwest or in Montana, and make them into malas, which are sort of Theravada rosaries. And Ajahn, how would you describe how you use them in 10 seconds?
Devotional objects.
Good. And you can time a mantra to them, or just keep it on your shrine as a thing of reverence. We have a thing called Recitations of Refuge, where we're encouraging people to gather 10 million recitations of refuge. Budang Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami. It's on the website, if that's confusing. All dedicated to finding a home. And there's people in this room who do 10,000 a week. I think we're at a few 100,000 now. Yeah, but you don't have to do that. Really, this is just a gift. And we usually, so if you don't have one of these and would like one, please come on up after we wrap up, and we'll happily give you one. We usually ask that people have been to 3 Clear Mountain events before they get one, so this counts as one. If you haven't been to 3 before this, then just maybe tune into a Zoom or something later as well. But come on up, and yeah, we'll happily give you one to keep as a memento. And I think that's it. Yeah, people can clean up and hobnob in the background. Do you need anything else?
I'm so happy to hear the words hobnob. I've been waiting all week. Yes, we're good at hobnob. We will hobnob. Thank you.
Hobnob away. Good. Okay. Hobnob, go. And those who want a mala, come up kind of maybe sooner rather than later, because we'll have to skedaddle, to use another good word.
Would you like a small wrist for the wrist or a big one?